what would the Rams' plan B be if, the number, they can't come to a number, or the commitment that Stafford is looking for is something the Rams are not either interested or willing to do? What would be the Rams' plan B? Would it be Darnold? Would it be Rodgers? Would it be somebody in the free agent market? Would it be, I'll throw out Stetson Bennett. I know they drafted him a couple years ago. I mean, somebody in the draft? What is the plan B if it's not Stafford for the Rams, Tom?
Well, the most inexpensive option that's not yet available, one we haven't mentioned, would be Kirk Cousins, who's got a foundation in that offense, knows Sean McVay. If the Falcons eventually release him, which to this point they've indicated they will not, they've got decisions to make, though, in the coming months. I don't know that having Kirk Cousins making $27.5 million next year as backup to Michael Penix Jr. and having him, breathing over his shoulder all the time is necessarily going to be a situation the Falcons want to embrace. But, are the Falcons waiting to try to get a trade? They would need Cousins' cooperation on that. I don't know why Kirk Cousins, absent the alternative of him really believing they're just going to keep him as a backup, I don't know why he would cooperate in a trade and waive his clause. But that would be a situation where you would potentially get him for the minimum, and you could spend all that additional money that let's say it's $40 million for Matthew Stafford. You could spend the other 39 on other players to try to bolster a really talented young Rams team. Aaron Rodgers, I would think, is going to command some money. I don't believe it's going to be, top shelf starter money based upon what's happened over the past couple of years, as well as his age. But if Aaron Rodgers is going to play, which all indications are that he wants to, and I know the teams are getting calls from his representatives about trying to get him in and trying to get him starting somewhere in 2025. That would be another potential alternative. I don't see Russell Wilson really being a fit in LA. It's hard to imagine Justin Fields being a fit, just knowing, what Sean McVay values in terms of traits here. But they've had, Jimmy Garoppolo's out there, who obviously has been in the building. There's a lot of different things that the Rams potentially could do. What you always have to think about, Rich, especially with the quarterback contracts continuing to escalate, the way that market has exploded, even with the salary cap going up, which I know everybody gets excited. They see the projections like, oh, we got more money. Everybody has more money. And most of that, historically, if you look at it over the last decade, as the cap has spiked, most of that money's just gone right back into the premier position, specifically quarterback here. So, it's going to be, how do you put a championship caliber roster around whoever is playing quarterback? Everyone in the league would love to have a player on a rookie contract, and be able to spend all that additional money on other positions here. Stetson Bennett, based on his very limited body of work and missing his whole rookie season, that might be a little bit of a stretch here, but listen, the Rams have drafted really well over the past couple of years. They have flipped that thing, how they've drafted on defense. They're obviously in the process of looking at trade options for Cooper Kupp, but they still have Puka. They still have Kyron Williams. They still got Tyler Higbee. They've got a really talented young core. Again, if everything lines up here, Matthew Stafford will still be a Ram. But if the numbers just simply get to a place where they don't feel like that's the best thing, or Stafford, ultimately decides, if they're not going to pay him, he wants to go someplace else, then they'll go down that road when they come to it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.